These are your evening headlines for July 9th, 2025, right here on BYU-Idaho Radio. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Austin Pace. Our hot and dry summer is not looking good for Idaho's water supply. After a promising start to the year, unusually hot and dry weather has severely affected Idaho's water supply outlook, which could lead to water shortages in the future. David Hokema, a hydrologist with the Idaho Department of Water Resources, sent out a news release describing the unusually warm and dry spring this June. From April to June, Idaho was recorded as being the fourth driest it's ever been, dating back to 1895.
The spring rains are also important from an agricultural demand perspective because they moisten up the soil, really reduce the amount of diversions in the springtime. And we get about a quarter of our typical annual rain between April and June. So when that doesn't materialize, it means there's a lot more irrigation demand in the rivers and reservoirs. And then that we get a lot less snow pack converted into runoff to flow in and fill those reservoirs. And so we're not in some, massive disaster crisis.
With the forecast looking dry, the Idaho Department of Water Resources wanted to warn water users to use water cautiously.
But we're just trying to get the word out to those water users and water managers that it looks like we're not going to get that, abundant water supply we're expecting. And so things are going to get tight for the end of the year.
Many regions fall between the 0 to 2nd percentile, meaning these conditions happen only once every 50 to 100 years. These conditions are prompting the use of a different water source like rivers and reservoirs, which are draining faster than normal. While shortages may be on the horizon, Hokema says there is a way for Idaho to recover.
It's not all doom and gloom. There's, we could end up with an adequate water supply at the end of the year if we had some unusual situations in the summer. Didn't end up being, as warm. If we had a cooler summer or we had some monsoonal activity, which is rare in Idaho but occurs. There are some things that we might conserve a bunch of water and then at the end of the year find we have extra, but that's always a bonus.
But if the hot and dry weather continues on its current trajectory, southeastern Idaho could see real water shortages soon. BYU-Idaho is going to host its first ever men's pageant, Mr. BYU-I. Student reporter Alex Batman has the story.
This Saturday, a handful of men will compete to earn the title of BYU-Idaho's first ever Mr. BYU-I. The men's pageant will be the first of its kind in BYU-Idaho's history, and organizers hope it will prove to be an exciting event. Crystal Rodriguez, a BYU-Idaho Campus Life event and activities coordinator in charge of setting up this event, says the event was originally introduced by a coworker.
A few of us wanted to put on new events this semester. We wanted to kind of bring a new fun light to school, to BYU-I, and we know we have the same usual events that everyone loves, but we wanted to add some flair to things and something that people wouldn't expect from us.
Almost 30 people signed up for the pageant and participants were narrowed down from there. Michael Pitcher, an electrical engineering major, is one of the contestants participating in the event. He says he plans to win.
I'm planning to win over the hearts, be a romantic, and see if I can win over the judges' hearts as well, and especially the crowd.
Pitcher outlines what he is most looking forward to during the competition.
I heard there's going to be a lip sync battle. I think that will be really funny. We're competing in groups, and I would also be curious to see everyone else's talents for the event, so I'm excited to see both of those things.
Rodriguez says the judges are going to have a variety of ways they'll score participants.
So the judges are going to have a scoring sheet. A lot of it has to do with the contestants have a lot of creative freedom with what their outfits, what they're going to wear, what they're going to present. There's a talent portion, so they're going to judge it based off of creativity, their personalities, kind of what they bring to the stage. So a stage presence. A lot of it will also, this might be a little bit of a giveaway, but a lot of it will also have to do with school spirit, how much school spirit they're willing to show and showcase while they're out there.
Rodriguez wants to invite you and your friends to come out and enjoy the show.
It's to kind of see the variety that we have here on campus and to kind of show a unification in school spirit while also being able to showcase who actually comes to school here. Sometimes I think we get so wrapped up in textbooks and doing homework and exams that sometimes people forget to also have fun while you're being able to do that and meeting new people.
Tickets for the event are $5 and are available online through the iBelong app or at tickets.byui.edu. For BYU-Idaho Radio, I'm Alex Batman.
We have a new segment in conjunction with the Rexburg-Madison Historical Society. Ken and Francine Hart will share Rexburg area history with us each week. The information comes from Louis Clements. Today's episode starts with the question, why did it take 28 years between pioneers exploring the upper Snake River Plain and creating a town?
In the late spring of 1855, not quite 8 years after the first body of saints arrived in the Salt Lake Valley, President Brigham Young sent a few trusted men northward to explore Idaho's upper Snake River Valley. Because their specific instructions were to determine the advisability of sending settlers to the area, the men elected to spend the summer there, charting the length of the growing season and noting the availability of water and timber and the quality of the soil. On their return to Salt Lake City, they praised the abundance of water and the quality of the soil, but they counseled Young against settlement, emphasizing that even during midsummer, it had frosted every night. They confirmed the description of the region that it is 9 months winter and 3 months late fall. To this, Young responded that when we need that country, it will be all right and we will settle it. It wasn't until another 28 years had passed that the city of Rexburg was officially established in 1883.
Ideally, a town site needed to be aesthetically pleasing, a place where people would want to live. The Rexburg area was picturesque, and, in comparison with surrounding deserts, verdant. There were 2 large rivers, the soil was excellent, and trees for building were abundant. But it was the weather and the length of the growing season that kept settlers from moving to the upper Snake River Valley. Thus, for Rexburg, it would be another 28 years before settlement.
These have been your BYU-Idaho Radio evening headlines for July 9th, 2025. Thanks for tuning in. More news, interviews, and great content are available on our podcast feed. Search for BYU-Idaho Radio on your favorite podcast apps. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and more. You can also ask your smart speakers to play KBYI 94.3 FM.